Dear students, in the second video of SOS Private Limited, I will be now demonstrating you how to enter the transactions related to the fruit drinks business during the month of April according to your exam paper. As you know, this particular section will cover transaction 1 to 15, and then the third video will cover the balance part of the transactions, whereby you will be able to download those videos, watch, and then practice yourselves how to enter the transaction to the Sage 50 accounting software package. So let me take our package and continue the transactions what we have already entered into the system. For that, you need to have already completed SOS Private Limited backup or SOS Private Limited final version of your software package. At the moment, what we have discussed is how to enter the subunit information or the subsection of the information. Now, I will be demonstrating the transactions starting from number 1 to 15 for the fruit drink business organization. So let me start with the transaction number 1. According to the transaction number 1, on the 2nd of April 2018, the following goods were ordered from Delicus Food Enterprise, order number 123. So according to this information, we are sure that we are going to order the item from the vendor. So this is going to be the vendor ordering system. So in that case, you need to go to the vendor and purchase section. There you can see the purchase order placing options are available. Then you can click the purchase order button and then open up the new purchase order command. So in this particular window, help us to create our purchase orders to the vendors. Now according to the information, you can see the transaction or the order is going to be created on the 2nd of April. So your date need to be 2nd of April. Then each order need to have an order number. So we will be entering the first order number 123. That is purchase order number created by you. Then we will move on to the next part. There are two items which we are going to order from our vendor. Mango 4000 bottles and papaya 2000 bottles. So we have to select the item from the item code. So we can see mango and the quantity we required is 4000 bottles. We will enter the quantity. Then the unit price, currently it is 30 rupees, but the new price coded by the supplier is going to be 42 rupees. So manually we have to enter the new price to the unit price section. Further, we are going to order papaya 2000 bottles for 45 rupees. Papaya item 2000 bottles 45 rupees. So we will be entering the quantity and the value 45 rupees, change in the value again. So the entire order will come to 258,000. When you look at the journal entry, this is not going to update your record. All the transaction belongs to your fruit drink business or the main business purpose, where the digit numbers are used 000 codes. So then we can just click the save and update the information into the purchase order section. So you can see the vendor ID. So I have not selected the vendor ID. So our vendor is the Delicus Food. Okay. So then we can click the save command and updates. Now in the list you can see immediately one order is already placed to the Delicus Food Private Limited. Then moving into the second transaction, on the 4th of April 2018, goods ordered under the order number 123 were received with the invoice number 87. The VAT amount included into this invoice is 38,700. As you can see, now the order is accepted by the vendor and also he has delivered the items with the invoice number 87. So what we require now to create an invoice for the particular order. So we can go to the next step, enter in bill and open up the new bill. Enter in bill means you are entering the bill you receive from the vendor. So you select the vendor, Delicus Food, and meantime you can select your order, here the order details, and then you can go to the invoice date information. Invoice date was given as a 4th of April. So you go to the 4th of April and enter. Your invoice number is that is not your invoice number. Actually, the supplier's invoice number is 87. So we can type that invoice number here. Then how many units he has delivered to us? All the items, receive the items with the amount. So that means no indication. We have received 4,000 bottles of mango, and also we have received 2,000 bottles of papaya. Altogether 258,000 without VAT. Now the VAT amount cannot be entered under the apply to purchase order tab section. So you need to go to the next tab, apply to purchase, and then you can enter the description, VAT on purchase. VAT on purchase, and then make sure you convert this into the VAT control account, VAT liability account, and the value need to be entered, the given value in the invoice, 38,700. So we can enter that 38,000. There's no unit value. So altogether, when you look at your journal entry, now this will be updated in your ledgers. You can see fruit drink mango inventory items are updated with debit 168,000, and fruit drink papaya will updated with 790,000, and also the VAT on purchase account is 38,700. Entire bill is going with the accounts payable 296,700. So if the accounts are correct, you can click OK, and then you can click the save button to update the records to your ledger accounts. Moving into the item number 3. On the 10th of April 2018, the following goods were ordered from Delica's Food Enterprise. Again, we are placing another order, order number 124 from the same supplier. So we will go back to the order option again, and this time again the same supplier, and the date will be now the 10th of April, and the order number is going to be 124. And the items which you want to order from this time, mango 3,042 rupees. Again the mango 3,000 bottles, and the current price will be 42 rupees, that is as it is, no changes. And mixed fruit 2,500 bottles, mixed fruit 2,500 bottles. Price will be, unit price will be 50 rupees per bottle, that is also there. So altogether total order value is going to be 251,000. Now when you look at the journal entry again, you can see all the accounts are updating properly. So we can save that and update our records. That is the third transaction. Moving into the fourth transaction, on the 14th of April 2018, goods ordered under the order number 124 were received with an invoice as below. Invoice number 521. The remaining quantity of this order will not be received. So that means even though we have ordered more items, this time supplier is not able to deliver all the items which we have ordered. So in that case, the order is not completely fulfilled. That's why the order, after receiving the items which we have received through the invoice, the balance part you ask to close. We don't have to purchase it again. The VAT amount included into the invoice also given there. So let's look at how to do two transactions here. One is processing the invoice, second one is closing the main order, right? So let's look at how to do that. Then we'll go to the purchase, and again we will take the purchase and receive inventory item, and we will select our vendor, and there you can see the second order 124 is available. So the quantities we ordered is here 3,000 and 2,500. Unfortunately, he is not able to deliver everything at once. So on the 14th of April, the date need to be the 14th of April. And his invoice number 521, we can enter his invoice number. Then how much of items he delivered us? 2,000 bottles he delivered. 2,000 bottles delivered mango, and also he delivered 1,500 mixed fruit. 1,500 mixed fruit. Now the thing is, when it comes to the delivery note or the invoice, his unit prices are reduced and the mango is given by 30 rupees. Now what we need to do in that situation, we have to go back to our invoice and change the unit price to 30 rupees. So these items, the first item, mango item is receiving for 30 rupees, but the fruit drinks is receiving for 50 rupees. So the VAT invoice 20,250. So VAT for this particular invoice 20,250. That can be applied into the apply to purchase tab. VAT on purchase. VAT on purchase, make sure you convert this into the VAT liability account and enter the entire VAT amount given in the invoice 20,250. Right, so this is the full transaction. So if you go to the journal entry, you can see the appropriate accounts will be debited and the total value will be credited to the supplier's account. So we can OK it and save that. So then the second part of this transaction, as you can see, the remaining quantities in the order will not be received. In that case, the remaining part, if it is not receiving, you need to close the order manually. For that, we need to go to the purchase order window, again purchase order, and then we can select from the list, we can select the order number 124, which is still open, you can see, and then put the date which you want to close the order. That is on the 14th of April, you want to close the order. So you go to the date and change the date to the 14th, and then just put the button, close button, tick. So once you put that close button tick and save this order cannot be used again to get the balance remaining. So you save that and go back to the list and check. You can see the both orders are now closed, right? So if you open up again, you can see the order is closed. No more transaction can be done to the particular order. This is how to complete the transaction number 4. Then the transaction number 5. On the 24th of April 2018, the following goods were purchased on credit basis from the Delica's Food Enterprise. Invoice number 522. The VAT amount included into the invoice is 7,550. Now as you can see, this is the direct invoicing. So you don't have order for this. You are going to get the item straight away with the invoice from the supplier. So what can we do? We will go back to the enter bill option and create the new bill and select our supplier, Delica's Food Private Limited. Then the invoice date is 24th of April. We will enter that. And the invoice number of the supplier 522 is the invoice number of the supplier. Then the items you receive with that particular invoice, papaya 1000 bottles. So we will select papaya 1000 bottles at the rate of how much? At the rate of 40 rupees. So we will change the price. And then we are purchasing another item, mixed fruit 500 at the rate of 50. Mixed fruit 500 bottles at the rate of 50. There's no change. Then the next line you can enter his VAT value. VAT on purchase. VAT on purchase. Make sure you convert this into the VAT control account, and then the entire VAT value given in the invoice is 7,150. We can enter that. So that the entire bill is going to be 72,150, belongs to the particular date and the supplier. So if you are satisfied that, then we can save it and complete that transaction. Then moving into the item number 6. On the 30th of April 2018, following goods were again purchased on cash basis from the Delica's Food Enterprise. Invoice number 523. At the VAT amount included into the invoice is 8,206. Total amount due for this transaction was paid by the check number 700-112 issued by the BOC account. So the items are received immediately, and then you have paid that as well by using one of your check. So we will be using the same option, purchase receive option, and then we will select the supplier. We will enter the other details now. The transaction date is 30th of April. Make sure the invoice date is entered, and his invoice number 523, and then get the items which you have received. Papaya 800 bottles. You can select papaya 800 bottles. And the rate of the bottle is going to be 42 rupees, always changing the values. Then the item number 2, we are going to receive mixed fruit 500 units. Mixed fruit 500 units. And that will be purchased on the rate of 50 rupees per bottle. And the next item we are going to purchase is the mango 500 bottles. Mango 500 bottles, also the same. Now you can see entire bill is entered. 3 items are there. Papaya 800 quantity, mixed fruit 500 unit, and the mango 500 unit at the rate of 42.50, and the last one is 32 rupees. 32 rupees per bottle. So entire bill is going to be 74,600. Next line we can include the VAT amount. VAT on purchase. And that need to be converted into the VAT control or the VAT liability account. And the entire VAT amount is going to be the given value. So that is 8,206. 8,206. Then the entire bill is 82,803, which was paid immediately by using the check number 700-112 of the BOC account. So how to enter? Amount paid at purchase, you can type the entire value. That is 82,803. Once you enter that value, press the enter key. Then you can see the reference number. Reference number is your check number 700-112. 700. Enter that under the reference 700-112. Check number. Then check is paid from which account? BOC bank account. So you need to enter that into the BOC bank account. When you look at the journal entry here, first you can see the purchase journal where the items are debited to the inventory account and the VAT is also debited into the VAT control account and the entire amount going to the payable account. Then the disbursement journal shows you the payment section. Full value will be debited to the supplier and credited to your bank account. So the perfect transaction, you can update that by clicking the save button. That is how to enter the transaction number 6. Look at the transaction number 7. On the 25th of April 2018, 100 bottles of mixed fruit which was purchased under the invoice number 522 were returned to the Delicus Food Enterprise. So due to the certain fact or the damage or the expiry or something like that, we are going to return the goods which was received under the invoice number 522 back to the supplier. This purchase had been subject to the VAT amount of 550 rupees. Debit note number 6. So you have to create the now return notes against the supplier. So when you go to the vendor purchase module, you can see the credit and returns. Open up the new vendor memo and then you go to the Delicus Food, select, and also you know the invoice. You can select the invoice number which you are going to return the item. So if you go down, you can see the 522 invoice. This is the invoice against which you are going to return the goods according to the instruction given. So the returns made on 28th of April. So we can select the date. And the credit memo number also given to us. Credit note number 6. We can enter the number 6. Then what are the items we are going to return? We are going to return the 100 bottles of mixed fruit which we have received. So out of 500, 100 bottles has been returned. And also return VAT amount need to be entered. So the return VAT amount is given 550 rupees. So we will return the VAT as well. Now you can see the reverse entry of this particular transaction. Journal entry will be now credited to the inventory account, credited to the VAT purchase, and entire amount will be debited to the accounts payable, whereby it deducted from the invoice. So if you are satisfied, OK, and click the save button. That is how to enter the transaction number 7. Moving into the transaction number 8, on the 27th of April 2018, 10 bottles of papaya which were purchased under the purchase at the rupees of 444 were returned to the Delicus Food Enterprise. It was difficult of tracing the relevant purchase invoice for this return. The VAT amount included into the return is 44 rupees. Now, as you can see, this time we cannot trace the invoice, but we returning the goods to our supplier without knowing the invoice number. So how can we do this type of return? We will go back to the return note and select our supplier. Now we are not going to select anything from the Apply to Invoice tab. We will go straight away to the Apply to Purchase tab. There we can select the item and return the goods. So the date of the transaction, 27th of April. So we will select the date, and the credit memo number is going to be number 7. Credit memo number 7. And then the item you want to return this time is 10 bottles of papaya. So you can select the item code papaya and enter the quantity 10 bottles. So that will be returned on the price. The total value will be 444 rupees. So in that case, these items are purchased on 40 rupees including the VAT. 440 including the VAT. So the VAT return is going to be VAT on purchase. That is the VAT return, and make sure that will be going to the VAT liability account. And the value need to be 44 rupees as it is mentioned here. 44 to the VAT. Entire bill is going to be 444. That means actual value will be 400 and the VAT return is 44. I hope you got the idea of this particular transaction. Carefully understand it and then process it by clicking the Save button. That is how to return the goods to the supplier. Moving into the transaction number 9. Following checks are issued from the BOC to the Dedicus Enterprise and within the month. So we have paid several invoices of our supplier using the various check numbers and various dates. So we need to go to the suppliers module, and now we are going to pay the bills. Go to the pay bill option, go and click the pay bill value. Then you select your supplier. So many outstanding bills are there. You can see the return note also available there. And then we will go to each of these transaction payments. On the 4th of April, first payment is made on the 4th of April at the date. And then invoice number 402 fully paid by the check number 700,101. So you can enter the check number under the reference section. And then the invoice number you have to check 402 invoice is fully paid. So click on to the pay box, and it is paid from which bank? From the BOC bank. So your bank account need to be the BOC. Then if you look at the journal entry, our supplier's account will be debited and our bank account will be credited. So perfect. The first one is paid, and click the Save button to update. Then again select the same supplier because we need to make further payments. Then the second payment made on 8th of April. Change the date, 8th on April. And the check number is a 103 check number. Make the adjustment to the check. 103 check number. And full payment made to the 479 invoice. Next invoice fully paid. So the transaction is entered. Then click the Save to update. Then moving into the third transaction. Again the same supplier payments. Further, on the 12th of April this time, change the date to the 12th of April, and the check number this time 104. A payment made to the invoice number 502. 502 is the other invoice fully paid, and there's a journal entry again going to the debit of the supplier and credit to the bank account. So we'll save. Then again select the same supplier because we have to pay more checks. On the 20th of April, next payment is made. Select the date, and the check number is going to be 107. So we have to adjust the check number. 107 is the check number, 700,107. It says now 520 invoice is paid, full amount after deducting 1000 as a discount. So it is paid full amount after deducting the discount, 520 invoice. You can tick onto the pay box and enter your discount, which you are going to receive 1000 rupees. So actual payment is only 209. 1000 is going to receive like a discount received. So if you go to the journal entry here, you can see our company received 1000 discount, and also the total deduction from the supplier entire amount 210. Actual bank payment is only 209,000. So the perfect transaction. You can save and update your records. Next payment also go to the same supplier, and next payment date is going to be the 24th of April. So we will select the date, and the next check number is 108, that is there, and it says 521 full amount after the net of the open debit note. So you have to deduct the debit note and then pay the full amount of 521 invoice. So in that case, when you are deducting the debit note, so we have to make sure remove the discounts given to the debit note. Then you go to the individual invoice number which you are making payment, 521 invoice, here the one. So there's a default discount, then you set off that with the return note as well. Tick on to the return note. Now you can see entire amount paid by check is going to be only after deducting this discount and also giving this discount. So you can see the journal entry. Here you can see we are receiving the discount of 4,657.5. Total invoice is 155,250. Deducting the return note amount of 444 and also the check amount of given check amount of 150,148.50. So the perfect transaction you can save and update. So the final payment on the 30th of April, same supplier. We will select the same supplier. On the 30th of April this time, check number 101110. So the check number is going to be 1110 from the same BOC account. Settlement is made to the invoice number 522. It's a part payment. Only 40,000 rupees has been paid. So invoice number 522 is paying only 40,000. Then you have to manually type that amount under the total. There are no discount eligible while you are paying the part payment. So we paid only 40,000 rupees. You manually type amount paid 40,000. Then it will appear here. So journal entry will be invoice deducted from the supplier 40,000 worth and the bank account 40,000. So that is how to make the payments under the checks payment to the suppliers under the transaction number 9. Then we are moving into the another payments section. So this payment is not for the suppliers. These are the other expenditure payments using the payment option. Now in this case, please remember that you cannot use the pay bill option. You have to use the write check option. So let's look at how to do the transactions related to the payments of other expenses. So we will go back to the suppliers module. There you can see the write check option and you write a new check for that. So here the write check window. So here very important that you enter the expenditure name under the name of the supplier here. Otherwise your transaction is not allowed to save. So enter the name of the expenditure under the name. Then you go ahead with the transaction. 4th of April, the date of the transaction and the check number which you have issued 88,700,102. Your check number is 700,102 on the 4th of April. And the bank account is BOC bank account. Make sure the bank account is correctly taken. BOC. And the amount paid is 88,000 for the salary. So you can enter the value 88,000. Then you can select the debit account is going to be your salary expenses account. So you find out whether the account is available. Here we got 6,000 and if you look at the double entry, salary expenses are debit and your bank account is credit. Perfect. Save and update. So the next payment going to be the electricity payment. Again the name we will enter under the name and then we will look at the date of the transaction. It is going to be the 5th of April this time and the payment made cash voucher number 123. So it's a cash payment, voucher number 123. You enter the voucher number this time, cash voucher number 123. Amount paid is 1,200 and that will be debited to the electricity expenses account. So find out whether you have electricity expenses. We have 6,100. Journal entry, electricity expenses debit 1,200. Your cash account, it need to be the cash in hand. So first we have to change here, also payment made by cash, and you have to select the cash, and also your account number need to be the cash account. So you can see your cash account, cash in hand account is appropriate. So the journal entry, cash in hand account credit, and your electricity bill debit. So you can save. Next transaction, distribution cost paid. So we can go to the expenditure name as a distribution cost. Then the date of the transaction 13th of April and this time it is paid by the BOC check 700,150. So we have to enter the check number 700,105, and it is paid through the BOC account. So we have to convert this into the BOC account credit, BOC account. Then the value paid for this particular transaction 12,000 rupees by check, and then it goes to the distribution expenses account. So you can find your distribution expenditure account. Distribution cost account 6,500. Your distribution cost is debit, your bank account is credit. Perfect transaction again, and we can update by saving it. So next transaction is going to be the payment to the telephone and internet. So let us do that transaction as well. So the telephone and internet going like a name of the transaction. Date of the transaction we have to adjust to the 25th. This time also payment going with the check, and check number is going to be 109. So we have to enter the correct check numbers. And the amount paid through the check is 3,400 rupees. 3,400. And that goes to the debit account, telephone and internet expenditure account. So find out your telephone and internet expenditure account from the list. And then your journal entry will be telephone expenditure account debit, and your bank account is credit. Fantastic. Save. And the next transaction, cleaning. And this time you can see by using one voucher, we are going to pay two expenditures, split pro. So we have to use common name, cleaning and water. Here we can enter cleaning, or we can enter the common name expenses. Expenses, because we are going to pay two expenditures. This time again the voucher number 124 is used, 124, and the date of the transaction is going to be the 26th of April. Select the date, and the bank account need to convert it to the cash in hand account, payment made through the cash, and the total value paid, adding these two values together, 7,450. So you enter the full value, 7,450, including the both expenditure. Then you have to use the split button at the bottom, expenditure account, split it, and go to the first expenditure account, cleaning expenses. You will be having the cleaning expenses account. Find out that here the cleaning expenses, and enter the cleaning expenses value 7,000 rupees there. Debit. Then next line you can see 450 is remaining there, which goes to the water expenses account. So we can find that account also, which is available in our system, water expenditure account 450. When you click OK, the entire bill is clear in that. If you go to the journal entry, you can see cleaning expenses debit 7,000, water expenses debit 450, and your cash in hand account credited 7,450. So perfectly done. Save and update. Now when you go to the list, you can see all the transactions we completed for the payment section here. So that's it for the transaction number 10. Now I am moving into the transaction number 11. On the 13th of April 2018, accrued expenses for the year ended 31st March 2017 was paid, issuing the check from the BOC. Again, another right check one. So we had an early accrued expenses which was there in the beginning balance of your trial balance, and you need to pay that amount. So the amount is not given here. How to find that amount? You need to go to the trial balance. To see trial balance or the accounts available, you can go to the list and chart of account and look at your accrued expenses account. Here your accrued expenses account, there's a balance remaining there, 41,000. You can see that, right? 41,000 balance in the accrued expenses account. This 41,000 need to be now paid by using the given information here. So we will be writing a check for that. Again, we will go back to the write check option, and this check is written from the given check number. So the check number is 700,106. 700,106. We are paying accrued expenses. Then the name is accrued expenses. And the value you can remember, 41,000 need to be paid. That need to be entered here, and it is paid by check, and the checking account need to be the BOC bank account. BOC bank account, right? Through the BOC account. On the 13th of April, payment is made. So the date need to be changed as 13th of April. Now the expenditure account need to be the accrued expenses account, liability account. So you have to select accrued expenses. So your double entry, journal entry will be accrued expenses debited 41 and your BOC account credited 41,000. So this will set off the outstanding amount to be paid for the last year accrued expenses. So you save and update. That is how to enter the transaction number 11. Transaction number 12, you can see on the 4th of April 2018, company received an order from Amarasiri Traders. Now we are going to receive the orders from our customer, from Amarasiri Traders, to supply the following goods. Order number 45, 15% VAT was rated, apply on the order. So you can go by now sales transactions. So we'll go back to the main window, closing all these, and we'll go to the main package and moving into the customers. There we are going to place the order. First one is the sales order. So your customer details are given here. Your customer is Amarasiri Traders. Select the customer, Amarasiri Traders. Then select the other details. 4th of April, transaction happening on 4th. That means order created on 4th. Order number is 45. Enter the order number. Then the other details, the items, we are going to give it to the customer under the retail price. So you can select papaya 2000 bottles. Go to the item list, select the papaya, enter the 2000 bottles and check whether the price is given under the retail price. So retail price is there. Then the next item, mixed fruit 1500 bottles. Select the mixed fruit, enter the quantity 1500 and check the price again whether the retail price is offered correct. Next one is mango 2500 bottles. So we can select the next line, mango 2500 bottles. Again the price need to be the retail price correct. So entire entrance is done. Then the 15% VAT applicable. So you have to select your sales VAT and then apply it. So entire bill is going to be 370,300. If you look at the journal entry, which is going to update later, here you can see the receivable account is wrong. So our receivable account need to be the debtors account. So then you have to make sure account receivable need to be the debtors account, right? Then now transaction is correct, all going to the fruit drink business 000 code, and we can update by clicking the save button. And also you get the message saying this ship by the date cannot be less than the order date. As you can see, my date, shipping date and the order date is same. So we have to give a further one more step further, one date, then you can save this transaction with the exceeding values. Moving into the transaction number 13, on the 12th of April 2018, the company received order from the quality. Again, another order is placed to the quality food business. So we will be using the same window. Select the customer, quality food enterprise. So then enter the date of transaction, 12th of April, and the order number is appropriately taken because we are taking the same options, 46, and this time VAT is 15%, and these are the items you are going to give it under the wholesale price. Papaya 4000 bottles. So we will select the items, papaya 4000 bottles. The price need to be the wholesale price. You have to select the wholesale price. Second, mixed fruit 3000 bottles. Select the mixed fruit 3000 bottles. Again the same price will be the wholesale price. Next one, mango 4000 bottles. We will go by the mango item, select the quantity. We are going to give 4000 bottles, and again the wholesale price applicable. Select the wholesale price. So the entire bill is entered and then apply the VAT 15%. 491,050 is the entire bill amount. Everything correctly entered, and the account receivable is your general account, and click the save. And again this ship again cannot be the later date, so we have to put the future date for the transaction shipping date and save it and update. So that is the 13th transaction. Moving into the 14th, as I told you, I will stop this video also at the 15th transaction, and further from 16 to the balance part we'll be discussing the third video. So moving into the 14th transaction, on the 14th of April 2018, the company sold all items ordered under Amarasiri Traders order number 45 on the credit basis invoice 200. So the Amarasiri traders now agreed with your order and you are selling items to the Amarasiri enterprises by using your invoice number. So we need to go to the next step, invoice, sales invoice. Select the invoice and select the customer, Amarasiri. Then you can see his order placed 45. So entire order is dispatched on 14th of April. Select the date, 14th of April. Then your invoice number is 200. Enter your invoice number. Then you ship the items quantities, entire bill, 2000 bottles of papaya, 1000 bottles of mixed fruit and 2500 bottles of mango. And the VAT applicable and all the details are there on credit basis. You can see the transaction now, the journal entry. Each and every transaction will calculate the cost of sales and deduct it from inventory. It's a large scale one. Entire bill amount is receivable account will be debited 370,300. So the perfect journal, save and update. Then finally, I'll be stopping at this point, 15th transaction. On the 15th of April 2018, the company sold all the item ordered by the quality food. Again, the invoice number 201. So the quality food also accepted our item. So we will take the quality food under the invoicing and you can see their order is there. All the items are delivered under this order. And then we can see the details on it's happening on the 15th of April. Adjust the date and the invoice number is correct 201. On the same day, check is paid by the check number. So he's paying the items by the check, right? With the 1,000 rupees. So all the item shipment need to be entered. 4,000 bottles, 3,000 bottles, and another 4,000 bottles of mango. So entire order is entered. Everything is shipped to the customer, and he is making the payment. 100,000 was received and deposit. So we have to enter the amount paid at sales now. Reference number need to be the check number and the amount he paid is 100,000 rupees. Enter that 100,000 and that goes to which bank account? You can see it deposited into the BOC account. So you select your BOC account and deposit ticket ID also given as a deposit ticket ID number 4. Once we entered everything here, we can click OK. Now you can see the part of the payment is made by this customer. And if you look at the journal entry, there are two journal entries. First one is the sales journal. You can see the sales journal transaction. Then the part payment, it's the cash receipt journal. So fantastically entered everything and then you can click the save and go to the yes button. So you click everything. Now we have completed up to the 15th transaction. So that by the time when you check out your entire details what we have entered from the video number 1, video number 2, we can check that by the transaction detail reports. And if you go to the option and select all command at the top and click OK, you can see all the transaction up to now. What we have entered is recorded here in the detail report. I have completed 37 transactions. I hope this will give you the idea of how to enter the transactions to your main business as well. Further, in the next video, we will be discussing the balance part starting from the transaction number 16 to the end. Have a good day, practice and also understand everything properly, right?